We are red. Red, of course, is on.
Good afternoon and welcome to Thursday, July 25th, 2019 Selectmen's Meeting. Stand and say the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so Catherine won't be here tonight and Jeannie will be arriving a little bit later. We just go right into the minutes. Good.
You got my page too.
Okay, so
Thank you.
we'll start with the July 18th anyway. Do that one first and we'll do that. I know I mentioned that I asked specifically how many fines have been levied out since this ordinance began, and the response from prosecutors was none. They have not fined or levied any fines to anybody. I'm sure that gets in there.
Where does the tube regatta begin?
Where the culvert collapsed.
Okay, so, right behind Tilton Diner. Okay. Just
The
there.
boat launch, 140, where it says look.
You can ask
Look,
Alan if you want.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
Where's the tube regatta begin? Boat launch?
Boat launch.
Okay.
No matter reject it out, it's fine.
Did the water get lifted?
It went up 6 inches this week.
Let's finish up the minutes so that we can stay on subject.
Well, that was part of these
Yeah.
ones.
I've been asked to check it in the morning to see whether they need to lift it in.
We're close to getting close to the normal high jump.
Any other questions?
Yeah, hang on, we're right in the middle of doing the minutes, so we won't get too off track.
Okay.
Everything else?
Although this is a little confusing, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as amended, as correct.
Second.
We don't have,
Yep.
all set? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved, accept the minutes.
Oh, one, it's just confusing.
Oh, that's page 2. So we're good. Oh, you're right here, so let's,
Yeah, wait to see him because he is so hard to find.
Really?
let's
So I figured I knew he would be here.
So, am I in for the regatta? I can't. I have to be in Meredith on Saturday. And this is kind of the first I'm hearing about it. And that could well be, but my brain just, and I apologize.
That's why.
If you were counting on me, I've got to be somewhere else. I can give you the grill.
That's it.
I can give you the grill, I can give you the equipment. Okay, well, I'll come over later.
I'll show you.
Okay, okay, we'll go over and talk to
Okay, so,
you.
let's see, the next thing we have, I guess, Kevin, you're not on there, but you must have something important to, or are you just hanging out?
No, I think, that would speak better with, but, we were hoping that for the police station building committee,
Wait, come up.
we have,
I think you're gonna wait for Jeannie, because Jeannie's got that on her agenda.
she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I can
See ya.
certainly wait.
Okay, you got a few
I have
minutes.
a 3-hour window in between what I needed to do.
The honeydew list.
Yes, and what I need to do.
We can get
And that
there.
means
Well, we'll get there before that.
Are you referring to see them?
So, we've got a couple minutes here. What I'm going to do is, we have a donation from Belknap Subaru of $250 to the Tilton Senior Center.
Woo-hoo!
Thank all those at Belknap Subaru. They a fundraiser or? Oh, nice. Nice. And Joe helped out with that.
I didn't, yeah, good. That's good.
So here's $250. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
So-
Subaru.
We have a
Absolutely.
motion to accept that,
So moved.
and seconded by me. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Can I ask a question about
Sure.
donation? Where do donations go?
Into the specific account. So Tilton Senior Center has a donation account. So it goes right into there. If it goes parks, it goes right into parks.
I have a point of order. Sort of was my understanding that you couldn't accept things, donations, unless it was an agenda item. Am I wrong in that?
Technically, yeah.
Well, I was looking for it, I'm still just not,
One of the
An
things,
exception of donation.
we've got it is on the minutes. We did
Oh.
check.
duh, I was looking for its own number. I apologize.
Just
Okay.
until the chief gets here, he's due at 5. One of the things, if you notice, one of the things you might notice on the agenda, and will be on there from now on, is other business.
Outstanding.
Okay, and if you also look at the agenda, it also includes the select board may undertake consideration of any other matters under other business as deemed appropriate by the select board.
Okay.
So that kind of covers, if there's something that comes up that's urgent, it's covered under that, so we can address it at, that meeting. That was the municipal association, ruling on that.
I like all that information.
Joe, we're up about 8 to 9 inches from the 23rd.
Actually, that's definitely coming up.
Yeah, I went down to my boat yesterday and had to walk in more water than I had, so.
I haven't been down there.
Kayaking down the river, the level that technology is really good for students to dress in box, but you not strict.
we're just above 465. The normal low is summer is like just below 465.
So good. Thanks to the Dam Bureau, raising the water for our tube regatta, which is this Saturday at, I believe, 10 a.m. At 11 a.m. You can go to the Town of Tilton website to get some more information. She could be here at 5 o'clock. Does anybody else have any items you want to bring in?
There's really important things here in Avatar that Lauren sent us, and put them on. They're just about the lot number. I tried to print the card, but it's not, so I'm just gonna put the names of lots belong to. Everybody needs to read this because this is action items for us.
Is it the Ashuelot tribe?
No. One is a large portion of the property is in current use forest land, which was actually cleared and in use as farmland now, which is about 8.15 acres of land. And another one is has been cleared and in use with stockpiles, cars, equipment, and the wood business that they are operating. So it's just a map, lot number, in the road, and then there's 246 Caleb, which was turned over to this owner but was in current use. That's Dembrinsky. He passed away. So now it just goes, but they failed to go into the current use paperwork, so it comes out of current use so that we have to file that. So there's 3 different lots. So I'm going to put number 1 and I'm going to put the name. But you need to read what Lauren said.
It's expensive to make these streets, isn't it?
I guess the electric bill for the island has gone down significantly above the incandescent bulbs.
It's only $22.
And we're running about 100. And that really is $20
$22 for that. I don't know the period, but first I was looking at that, $22.
Yeah, we replaced the bulbs. Previously, they were 175 watt bulbs. I think it was 6 or more bulbs. We changed those out to the LED, they're about 150 watts. They only draw 20 watts per hour. Mercedes. Chief, whenever you're ready, we're kind of moving right along here. How things going?
Busy because we're hosting training this week, so that lead training. So whenever you're hosting something like that, it's always a little bit extra on the plate, but it's going good though.
Where are we going tonight?
Uh,
Last night?
yeah, tonight they get fed, and then tomorrow's the last day, and they're out of here. But we have police officers here from Tennessee, from Florida, yeah, Vermont, all over the place. So it's pretty neat.
Pickups.
Pickup, yeah, it's
So that's
Orange
the lead
County,
going out of New Jersey?
Vermont, yeah.
Fully,
Marked. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's the first time they've done a train the trainer, so which is what we really need to grow and make this strong. It's, you know, before they had a few trainers out in New Jersey. Now we're creating boots on the ground trainers. So if we want to add people, we can do it right here instead of having to send them down there or bring them up here, that kind of thing. And so, and this is the first one they've done in the country.
nice.
Yeah, so we're hosting the very first one.
Must be enjoying the weather.
They are. Yeah.
See weather.
We're trying to be the good host, you know. But yeah, everything's good. I sent my report over for this week, and it was kind of an average week for calls for service, and not a lot of arrests. We had a few this week. We're seeing an uptick in driving under the influence of drugs, so they picked up a couple of those cases this week, which is, you know, after, you know, what happened in Randolph with all the bikes, it's definitely on our radar to make sure the roads are safe. And so, you know, we do make arrests for DUI drugs, DUI alcohol, operating after suspension each week, and some people say, well, it's minor, it's only minor until they kill someone, and then it's major. So it's like we want to make sure that if they're out there and they shouldn't be out there, that we're getting them. Detectives, I think you saw in my last report, they're still working on a couple of burglary cases. I had mentioned in the last report, it may be coincidental and it may not, that both houses had for sale signs on them. So, for sale signs on them. Yeah. So one of them was over on Lancaster Hill Road, the other was on School Street, so they weren't near each other, but whenever we see something like that, you know, it makes you think, could they be related, possibly. And no one was home at either burglary. And Nate Buffington, Detective Buffington, is working on some training. I think we may be the first putting this together too. We're partnering with the CAC's Child Advocacy Centers to put training together for school administrators on what to do if you, you know, come in contact with a potential victim of a sexual assault in the school system, making sure that we, you know, follow the protocols laid out by the AG's office and the CAC's. And there really hasn't been like a formalized training for that. And so Nate's been putting some meetings together with the CAC's, and I think they're going to be rolling it into the school's August, you know, training block that they get before school starts up. So he's been working on that. And then obviously, we're still working on some open drug cases that are, they're I'd say 50% done. You know, we have to spend some time on them before we can do the warrants on them, and talking to detectives, they're about halfway down on a couple houses. And then Director Patrols, we've been getting requests for Grange Road for motorcycles, 380 West Main for drug activity, which is kind of sad because we never used to get those kind of calls there. But, you know, there's a little bit of a change in the tenants over there that we're all of a sudden getting complaints of traffic, drug traffic. So they're dealing with that. And then this is the time of year we get complaints every summer about the train trestle. And
What's the complaint?
that they're illegally parked, they're trespassing on the trestle itself, they're drinking, the complaints vary,
Leave all their trash and dump.
and they leave all their trash in.
Well, there's no real place to dump it until, so they leave it on the carts out.
But we get the complaints every summer, and so they end up adding that to the list of places they're checking. There was Nate, Sergeant Morrison gave me an update that there was a recall notice went out this week to all the police departments that have the Explorers to do some updates at no cost to the admission system, so I put notes in there on that, and he said it's totally covered. Obviously, we have the lead training going this week, and we're working on some stuff for the fall as far as an organized retail symposium that we do every year. And then lastly, movie in the park starts this Friday night, and Sergeant Pinal, Officer Murray, and Sergeant Buffington are all working on that. So this year, or this first one, the movie is Dumbo. And I'm sure if the weather's right, and I think it's going to draw a huge crowd. We'll try to make sure that any parking issues are addressed down there. You know, make sure that everyone uses the spaces they're supposed to. We have the overflow at the church if we need it.
You're using the left?
Yeah, I'll check on that.
Just
I know.
Tell them to stay off the irrigation, please.
Okay. I'll be out there, so I'll remind them of that. Yeah.
They should have a,
Yeah, I mean, we,
should have a little sign or something telling them not to park in riverfront place.
yeah. Yeah. We'll make sure we're respectful of any private property owned spaces, and if we have to notify people, we will. But we try to head it off at the pass before it becomes a problem. You know,
I know they were trying to, they were going to try to resolve it.
before the movie.
I didn't know if it was done or not.
Yeah. And then the last one, John, is, I have Abe here because he's been working on the background of a candidate that made it through all of our process, so we're kind of getting down to the wire with him for the fall. He's passed everything to date, and so our hope is that we try to get him into the fall academy, which starts with the first week of September. And so there's some stuff coming up. August 18th, he'll take his PT test at the academy. If he passes that and the 67 slots, gets one of those 67 slots, then he would officially be eligible to go in for the fall academy.
I hear you say if.
Yeah, no, and I'll let Officer Gilman expand on his background and how he's doing as far as that goes.
I didn't hear some of what you were saying, so can you just back up a little bit?
Sure. So over the last couple months, Detective Buffington and Officer Gilman have been going through applications and oral boards, and they finally narrowed down to the candidate they like. Once they get to that point, they start an intense background process, which is polygraph, psych. Part of that is they have to do ride-alongs with us, and they've spent a couple months on this one candidate, trying to make sure they didn't miss anything. And I have Officer Gilman here because he did his background, so he's the one that we would send down to do the PT test coming up here in August on the 19th. And so if we didn't have him take that test on August 19th, he wouldn't be eligible to attend the fall academy. So the next one would be in January. So probably within the next couple weeks, we would bring down a PAR and try to move to have him hired for that fall academy. And right now we're getting ready to process him and get him into that PT test on the 19th. If he passes that and he gets accepted, it would be a couple weeks after that he would actually start the academy. So we just wanted to give you kind of a heads up where we're at and an update on it. And obviously Gilmer can kind of talk a little bit about how we got to this point as far as his background goes.
Matt, do you have some questions?
I have quite a few questions.
Yeah.
First of all, it's personnel, and didn't we, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Didn't we just go through a whole hiring process, personnel protocol that we all agreed on as selectmen that we would do? And you're asking us to approve, which was approved at town meeting, I get that, but you're asking us to approve an officer in a public meeting, which we have no background of or can question in a public meeting, personnel. I got tons of questions, so.
Tonight is just an update, so we don't have a PAR, we're not asking for a vote on hiring. Just to say where we're at with that candidate, and that our goal is that within the next couple of weeks, we would begin the process with the board to get a PAR ready and proceed forward to hire them.
Before you get a PAR ready, before you go to the board, before you go to a PT test, do you think that the board would be the courtesy of knowing who this officer is and a little bit about his background, or no?
Absolutely, and so I'd actually even want to give the board, if you want, the opportunity to meet him too. Tonight is just to give you an update that we did pick someone that we've completed a background on. So it's just a quick update, that's all. We're not going to go into detail, but if the board would like between now and the 19th, we could schedule him to come in and meet the board and kind of go into more detail in a non-public.
The 19th, or you go to PT and he passes the PT test, are you going to push for us to make a decision right then and there to get him into the fall class? Because now we have to have that absolutely right then and there, because we have to have it by the deadline of such and such a date. When is the deadline for the fall class?
So he would have to take the PT test on the 19th.
On the 19th, right.
Yeah,
When is
August
the
19th.
deadline for the sign up for the fall class?
If he passes his PT, he's eligible to go into the fall class, so.
Right, I get that, but when is the deadline to sign up for the fall class? If he passes the PT test today, does he have to sign up for the fall class when?
No, we've already done the paperwork that he would go into that fall class if we hire him. So he essentially, if he passes a PT test on that day,
So you've already processed this guy. If he passes the PT test, he's on a road.
we did, well,
He's on
no,
wheels already.
no, we would still have to get a PAR signed. And we can't sign him up for the PT test.
I get what I said, but that's.
Yeah, we can't sign him up for the PT test unless we hire him. And so what we would want to do is bring him down and get a PAR signed before the 19th. Our goal is to get him into that PT test. So that's why we wanted to give you just a heads up today that it's getting close and that this candidate has done really well. And so it's just a brief update by Officer Gilman.
Yeah. So you probably have some stuff to add to that, right?
No, you said pretty much everything. I mean, the 5th is the deadline for getting any kind of paperwork into the academy, is August 5th. And once that deadline, once that 5th is closed, we're not allowed to, that's it. Vote is closed, we're going to wait for the January class, 2020. So that's where we're pretty much at right now. I'm not going to say much more because just leave it at that. We'll wait until, I guess, the session. Because I mean, if you guys have questions of anything right now that doesn't pertain to, obviously, we're not going to say any names, anything like that, PT scores are great. I did all the PT tests, so anything else you guys want to know?
I'm very excited about this new person coming on board, but I think that it's time tonight, if August 5th is the deadline, the next meeting is when?
August 1st is selectmen's.
All right. Are you going to come in on August 1st and give us the details of all of this when Catherine is here, and that we sit down and you give us the background? Next Thursday. or we can go into non-public and do it, and then we can pass the information to Catherine, one or the other, it doesn't. But you want us to update it. Otherwise, you're asking us to do a midnight run decision, and we've done this in the past, and we've asked you not to do that in the past, that's all. But I am very excited you found something.
Fifth, would that work? I mean,
So you want me to put them on the agenda for August 1st?
August 1st, yeah.
Can you do that, August 1st? Well, wait a minute, he's got something going on August 1st. I
Yeah,
can
it's
see the
actually-
wheels turning.
It's actually something with my daughter.
Oh, okay, then that's January 1st.
But I could have Detective Buffington come down and go over the background process.
That will work. Will that work, everybody? Joe?
What were you saying?
Detective Buffington, he would come down also.
He sort of does the background, polygraph and everything, so yeah, that works.
And stuff, so, and the candidates aware, they have to pass to continue.
100%. There will be many PT tests before that initial PT test. They know anything that's about it. I can tell you right now, the test was great. Several minutes below the lead time. And that's what I wanted to go to the next phase and hopefully pass it.
Yeah, he wasn't even past the close, so it was,
What does it cost to train an officer? To get them from that August 5th or whenever, they actually swear in and start getting money. They're riding in a police car by themselves, on their own, ready to go. We're covering a shift. What does it cost the town?
so they'd be working for about 6 months in training, and it would be their straight time hourly rate on duty.
For 6 months, and is there a cost for us to send them to the academy?
No cost for the academy at all.
Bullets.
Yeah, ammo, but
Yeah, equipment,
Yeah.
it costs to put them in a suit.
For you, Catherine.
yeah, there's no, no,
Well, I mean, an uniform.
You
right.
don't have a uniform on.
Really? You just
The
show
only
up.
thing you need for a uniform is that when you graduate the academy, they want you to look presentable, because
Yeah.
you have graduated the business. And leaving than that, it's just ammo, or your bullets, and your firearms most likely are already at PD, so
Yeah.
there's not much, just some igloo, and really that's just shorts and things like that, that's gonna be what it costs. That's what we're trying to do, trying to slim that down, so that's why that window's closing down, so we don't have them on the road that long before they go to the academy, so that we don't have that problem, they don't pass the intro to the academy. We haven't bought them uniforms, we pay for all this stuff, so it's designed, and we wash them out, they're in best, and all this new stuff. So we're trying to like, make that tight.
You know, I got kind of burned once.
It,
With a shoulder injury or something. That, oh yeah, okay, now they're on the payroll, but they have to wait another 6 months, and of course the academy 6 months. So a year of that
Yeah, so,
just thought I would ask.
yeah, Officer Goodman and Buffington have been really working hard on the process to kind of
Streamline that.
streamline it and minimize that.
So what we're
cost
talking about is approximately $35,000. Approximately.
Approximately, yeah.
Thank you, very close. Benefits and stuff and the wages and everything else. Do we have that kind of faith in this person that you're coming up with, right?
Yes, I do, and they do. That's why he's here.
I can give you just one thing. He was an intern with the New Hampshire State Police, so he's a younger kid, but that right there shows a lot. I have a lot of guys that I respect and mentors with me in the state police that reference him to the police department. So,
Well, I'll have more questions
Yeah.
of specific nature when we talk about this again. Yay? Glad you found the right guy.
yeah, good.
Yeah, that's it, John.
Did you have anything, or? And thanks for coming down, stay out of the hot sun.
I have a detail right now, so just go ahead. There we go.
Enjoy.
All right. See ya. Thank you.
Is there a public comment section?
Yeah, sure.
I
You could-
want to say
yeah.
something.
Sure. Sure, yeah. Okay, time's up.
Fine, I'll go home.
I spoke publicly at town meeting about the Tilton Police Department before, but most recently, my family experienced a theft, serious theft, car stolen from Walmart parking lot. My dad was devastated, never thought he'd see his vehicle again, and I assured him that Tilton PD, there's not much that gets by them, and that they'll figure it out. Within 5 days of hard work and over 80,000 views on Facebook, the Sergeant Buffington and Sergeant Keeler were working a detail and heard on the radio of a stolen vehicle situation at Hooksett. They quickly jumped on that. Within 4 days, my dad's Jeep was recovered. And the work that the Tilton Police Department as a whole put into that was pretty amazing. And I just think that I wanted to thank them publicly. I didn't intend on speaking that tonight, but with the chief here, hopefully he can go back and tell the guys that. But I think I think all of us already know how good they are, but
It's good
They're
for
good.
other people to know.
so that's something that's very comforting to be a resident of that community. So just thank you.
Okay, Kevin. Let's see. Well, first, thanks to the guys for working on the downtown thing over that weekend. Night.
Yeah, I was very pleased. It went smoothly without any interruptions or issues.
The Sunday night.
Yeah, that was, I was a little nervous about how that was going to play out, and I was pleasantly surprised that everything was very quick. I think they wrecked out in 3 hours, and they spent the rest of their time prepping the soil for safe travel and making sure all the ramps for the wheelchairs were nice and level and matched up nicely. So,
When is the asphalt going on?
the asphalt's going on in 2 weeks. In fact, next Wednesday,
Microphone.
we're scheduled to put the conduit in the ground. So that'll be all buttoned up on Wednesday. And then we're shooting for the following weekend for the paving. We're going to try to pave on Sunday as well, so it minimizes the impact to the residents and the business owners. So it's going to happen fairly quick.
The impact right now to the residents and the business owners, particularly to the business owners, it is huge right now. You have
Can you explain?
But the hairdressers right now, there are 2 wheelchairs that tried to get in through there, and they couldn't. They had to be lifted by other people to get into the hair salons.
Okay, so that information didn't make it to me at the town hall? I mean, at the Public Works garage? If it had made it to me, I would have gone down and made better arrangements.
But now it's going to be another couple weeks, so people that are driving by and they're not going into the establishments now, they're changing their appointments, they're not going to visit where they get their cup of coffee in the morning because they can't walk that with a steady stead, the older people, the older generation.
Well, see, I had my
That's
crew
the
out there
feedback
Monday.
that I'm getting.
Okay. I had my crew out there half the day on Monday addressing all of those issues. I apologize that it wasn't up to some people's standards. We are trying to make it
Right.
as easy as possible. With that new information, I can send my foreman down to try and address those issues a little more specifically. to
I'm
make it
not
better.
sure, to be honest with you, Kevin, I'm not sure that you can do any more than what you've done. I mean, I can walk down there fine, that's not a problem, that's not an issue. But we have disabled people that go down for a haircut and things like that. I
So-
don't think you can do better than what you've done now, except to put asphalt down. And that's kind of where I'm going with that. And there's a lip between going in and out, and you can't get that with the wheelchair, you can't. So the person that went over got stuck, a lot of people ran over. This was like 9 o'clock in the morning, they went over, and there were 4 people, they just lifted him,
Okay.
lifted him into the salon. So
Okay.
I don't think you can do any better. I think it's the situation,
So,
if you understand what I'm
I
saying.
understand what
Not-
you're saying. So, if all goes well on Wednesday,
Mhm.
and we get the conduit in the ground for the electrical work, I can reach out to R&D Paving and see if they can come in on Thursday to expedite
Yeah.
the paving, and not wait till the weekend. That is a possibility.
Okay.
And I know that the salesman, Jeff, has reached out to me saying, if you want us or need us sooner, just let us know. When you're ready for us, we'll be right there to finish it up. So,
I think that would be great. Does it go past down by the church? I haven't even looked down past. Does it go in front of the church, right?
Yes. Oh,
So
yes.
I'm just thinking of the people in wheelchairs and things going to church, the congregational church on Sundays.
okay.
That's the only thing I'm thinking of is the wheelchair. I can maneuver just fine.
Sure.
And I've seen a bicycle ride down there the other day, so I don't think it's anything that you can make better with what you have right there.
Okay. I can try to expedite the asphalt after the conduit's in the ground.
Did you do anything else?
Yeah, we're our own delay on that, Pat, because we wanted to put the conduit in for lighting for the trees and all. Had we not done that, they could have done it a lot sooner, but we're trying to.
Trying to- Trying to coordinate
This is for tree lighting.
a couple of, well, conduit is going in the ground for potential upgrades in the future. So there will be a run, an empty run of conduit for future endeavors, whether it be ramp posts or original. And they're supposed to be daylighted in certain locations so that it's easy access. So we tried to put some forethought into that. So, okay.
John,
So anyway,
get onto your
list.
Yeah, get on
Um, No, it's okay. I wanted to talk about the Academy Street project. We're aware that we had the imaging done, and there were a few voids that were detected. They couldn't specify whether it was a void or just sandy material or a different type of material. I'm sure you've all seen it, all the markings on the road, and heard all kinds of stories, how the road was going to fall apart. But, with that new information and knowing that we had the money set aside for that project, I would like to have permission to contact the contractor to have him come in and start with that this year. So that next year, that can be on my to-do list for paving, getting that buttoned up next year. So I'd like to present.
Just paving or it's the whole,
Can you explain the wall, right?
I would like to have permission to have the contractor come in and build the wall, the retaining wall this year.
so the retaining wall by the town, the
Water
water
department, exactly.
right there, so it would, the retaining wall, and then they would fix the gaps, that they found in, when they took the pictures.
Well, the retaining wall would alleviate any future problems that might arise until I can reclaim the property, reclaim the road and rebuild the road bed, basically. I need the wall built prior to any road construction that I do. I just have bad visions of having the reclaimer up there and toppling over on its side because we didn't do a proper wall.
Refresh my
Okay.
memory, are we sure that that the retaining wall was the answer to what we want to have over there?
I believe that was the consensus when we spoke next.
We had a couple different proposals that we had. I don't think we specifically chose one.
Well,
We keyed in on one.
there've been a lot of different, we went out to bid on it. The bids came back pretty extreme in terms of numbers. Then we kind of went at it a different way, and we had someone come in and tell us how he could rebuild the wall by using the current, what is there currently, and bringing in more stone. You know, one of the other proposals were talking about preformed, which got very expensive. So he's just going to work with what with what is there and bring in more stone and build up the wall. So basically, if you remember, we had somebody,
The push was put a wall over the wall?
yes,
Leaving the existing wall and building a new
Another
retaining
wall.
wall with a wider base for more stability.
How
and
does
so,
that go with the water district? Because that wall is within, it's relatively close to their shed over there.
It is. But the base of the wall will be 6 to 8 feet at the base, which we already concluded that it wouldn't encroach on their property, or it wouldn't interfere with any of their property building structures of that nature.
so the point is, we set the funding aside to do this project. There was concern noted by some that structurally the road was not safe. So we had Kevin found this company to come in and look at what was
Imaging.
going on underneath the road. And essentially what I hear you saying, Kevin, is that what they've come back with, you feel comfortable that this road is structurally sound enough to put that wall up.
Yes,
And that's what you're saying, is you'd like to put the wall up.
yes, I'd like to put the wall up, and then next year reclaim, redo the road base and pave.
What was the estimate, Kevin?
34.9.
Okay, so 35.
What is
If
your,
you, I'm sorry, if you remember, just to do the analysis was $34,000.
Yes, yes.
For one company.
what is your time frame on doing the wall, starting, and then how long will it take to finish the wall?
Well, it's been so long since we've spoken to that contractor now, I have to reach out to him and ask his availability. And if it goes into the fall months, that might hinder his abilities a little bit. So I'd have to reach out and have a conversation with him before I could answer that.
I'm kind of concerned with just that, and then closing that road off, because that's our alternate route to Main Street, and you have things going on down in Main Street with the sidewalks, and that's going to be closed.
Well, that road wouldn't be closed. He wouldn't have to shut that road down to do his work.
At all.
No,
So you have,
he'll be passable.
He's doing it from this other side of the,
Yes,
he's doing it on
he's
the
doing it
wall
for
side, not
the
from
water
the top.
company. Yeah, he's not doing it from the top.
You talked to the water company?
wow, how can you get a vehicle in between there to do that? That's gonna, okay, I'm
Excavator.
just gonna trust that.
Excavator with a thumb,
Yeah.
long reach.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Yes.
One of the things that I noticed is the way the crown of the road was, and there's not much of a curve. The water's actually flowing off behind the wall at the
Yes.
surface.
Yeah, that'll all be
So if you did it,
corrected.
Yeah, so as soon as they fix the wall, so you
Yeah.
don't undermine it more.
Yeah, we're planning on building a berm with asphalt. Even if the wall doesn't get built this year, we're still planning on doing a berm there. Because there's another area up on Chestnut that we need to take care of this summer as well for water control, same stuff, yeah. So,
And then, years ago when we did that, we probably wouldn't have that washout of the wall. Good job.
So,
So maybe what I would suggest is maybe Kevin can speak with the contractor to get the answer to your question, Pat, about when he could start and how long it will take. And
Okay.
then Kevin can bring that back to the board and you can decide then.
okay. Great. Thank you.
Check the price.
Oh, yes.
It has been a while.
A couple of months, yeah. I'll confirm everything before I come and see you again. So the other things I wanted to talk about, I wanted to let you know that the Cedar Street project and the sidewalk project is progressing as planned. We haven't had any major issues or setbacks.
Ledge?
They did have ledge, but looked like the contractor had a very good solution for that. He's got a big wrecking ball. He's been getting his water line to the 6-foot mark, which is what his goal was. So yes. Then there was some question of property lines and easements, town road easements. So I took a half a day and did some research. And I got together with Janie and we generated a memo for the people on Cedar Street, just to let them know that our trenching might go into our easement. And I gave them the education of, okay, we've got 3 feet past the asphalt as our easement for trenching. I was able to hand out that memo to the people on Cedar Street so that there's no questions of where we're going with our trenching.
No, go ahead, you're still going on. I want. Okay, can we talk about Cedar Street?
Sure.
Kevin has done a really great job of maintaining. Once R&D came and took up the asphalt, he's been doing an exemplary job, in my opinion, of taking all of that potholes when they come up. He's been doing the ledge pack and so on and so on.
Actually, can I make a comment?
Yeah.
The reclaim that we have stockpiled at our shop is what we've been using to fill the potholes.
Okay,
So
so
we
it's
haven't-
reclaim, not ledge pack.
We
Okay.
haven't been having an added cost, so that was.
My point is, you've been doing an excellent job maintaining it so that we don't have a lot of potholes and the muffler that I lost and had to put a new muffler on, it's fine still. However, along comes the water company and undoes exactly what Kevin has been maintaining all of this. And the road passway, I mean, the water company is on the side and has made an abomination of the road and continues up the road and leaves the abomination on the road. And it rained the other day, now we just have a real mud puddle along Cedar Street. But the passageway, along the passageway, it's horrendous. It's horrible. It's not anything like it was when you were maintaining it. And it's due to a utility in town doing work on our road and not leaving it in a state where they found it, the way they found it. And I'm not talking about just Cedar Street this time, but in the future, we should have some type of safeguard that says in our rules and regulations that you want to do work in our town, whether it's Liberty Utilities or Eversource or our water company or gas company, whatever, that you dig up our road, you maintain it. I don't care if you're doing 300 feet. You go 100 feet, you maintain it just exactly the way the status was before you did it. Otherwise, you're making a mess of it, and it's wrong. I'm sorry, that contractor it's terrible, it's horrible.
Well, they should be required to restore it daily. Whatever they do, they should make passable.
Way of operating.
It's not. I've never seen it like this,
I can
ever.
have a conversation with him
Ever.
tomorrow.
And if I were a homeowner just looking at the lawn in the whatever you call it, swale or however you
The
want to
project
do it.
started, I had asked them to maintain to the quality that we've started with. It sounds like I'm just going to have another conversation with them and emphasize how important it is that when they're done for the day, that it's safe travel.
You know, you're using a reclaim
It could be.
material that's being put down there so that you have a solid pathway going there. They dig it up and they're just putting gravel.
Yeah.
So, you
Yeah.
know, you're in it, and then it's potholes like crazy.
Could have been a misunderstanding as far as what I consider safe travel and what they consider safe travel. So I'm just going to have Peter's laughing.
Good, and
So I just
I agree with that.
take
but
another conversation and try to get on the same page.
But in the future, we need to really.
In 2 weeks, we have the gas company coming in there as well.
There you go.
So
So if they continue this kind of it, it's
Oh, it's
just
gonna be a mess.
horrible.
Yeah.
It is just horrible.
Okay.
I feel so bad for the residents on Cedar Street. I only have to go a
Short distance.
very short distance and I take a left and I'm kind of safe, but I don't have to travel the entire way. I would just be bonkers. Thank you.
Lived through Silver Lake Road, and I'm here to tell you that for all the inconvenience, but once you get through to the other side, it certainly is nice having a road that you don't have to worry about.
Didn't we have a policy at one time, Joe? I think you were a selectman at the time too. That when they cut the road, they have to maintain it exactly the way that they left it. I
Oh,
believe.
it's still there, it's in our trenching permit.
Mhm.
Oh, yes. See if we can
Be making it here to better standards.
just a higher standard of leaving job sites. I'd like to tell you that we did some more striping at the Winnistrong Market. Obviously, we weren't able to do everything by the plan because we didn't take over some of the property there, but we were able to do it along Route 3, in front of the Lobster Pound, and Marina. So we were able to finish those parking spaces this past week.
Nice.
We also finished the crosswalks and in front of Walmart. The Walmart intersection, we were able to get all that done. So I could put my paintings and equipment away for the year, and that was a nice hurdle to get through.
Does that include the balloons? No?
Not yet.
Oh.
We have a plan in
Well,
place.
you said they were done.
Put the painting equipment away then.
No, different painting equipment.
We want those balloons.
No.
We actually had Sheena volunteered to do a stencil for the balloons, so she's going to be working on that.
Nice.
Nice. Very nice.
Let's see here. It was mentioned to me last year, and I'm thinking way ahead now, the ice rink coming up this year. If the groundwork hasn't started on the police station, we're going to put the ice rink up, correct? I would like to build a sign. It was asked of me last year, but I figured I would ask the board this year if we could put up a sign to promote use of the ice rink. Because it's way out on 132, and not a lot of residents know it's there. If we were able to put a sign on Route 3 or somewhere noticeable on town property telling people what it is, we might promote it.
Oh, in the middle of that. But his type of sign is a big wooden sign that says I will.
Depends how big, I'm not sure how big.
It's not going to be a huge building, just something informative.
I'm all for it, it just depends on how big it is. He just suggested the island maybe right at the 132 there,
Oh, okay.
but I think that you would need to have it low level so that people can see
State
it.
property too. so-
And it is state property,
Oh, I could ask the state for permission.
and then just see how big.
Or maybe set up the message board in some key locations for that as well.
Before you get too far, have you asked Parks if you build it, if you can bill them for the material and
That's,
stuff?
I believe the request came from Parks,
Okay, I'm just making sure. I think.
came from Catherine, so.
Which, actually, if I could just intercede, it brings a question to my mind. I know that we've had, or the Public Works Department has individually had folks come to them to do work, which the process should be, we have a work order system now. Tim set that up, so everything gets worked through the work order system. Because my thought is, anyone can call Kevin and ask him to do something, but at the end of the day, in my mind, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin works for you. And so the selectmen need to make those decisions. If it's a big decision, or, I don't know, somebody asked, there was a request for for speed bumps. Well, I think that is something the selectmen should be aware of and say yes or no to.
Absolutely.
We had, early on, if you recall, we brought forward to the select board a list of things that the DPW would do for the Parks Commission. It was a very specific list. And so now things have come up that weren't anticipated, when the list was made, but they're beyond the scope of the work list. And so my question to you is, should not anything that goes outside that, should that not come to the board? Whether it's a board member, whether it's another employee, should not that come through the board for you to look at and say yes or no?
We have the work order program started, and all of those things should, I feel, should go through the process. That if they're in your regular duties, they should fill out the work order, request it, and go through the process. So that you don't know who's allowed to tell you what to do. It should be.
If I'm understanding this correctly, so it's just not parks, but senior center, and so there's something up at the senior center that needs to be done. We would go through you'd do a work order and say, okay, this is what needs to be done. So if it's not within the realm of everyday normal work that would fall under the DPW work, then you would say, okay, I think we need to go to the board and ask permission for this, because this is really not within their everyday workload to maintain the building or maintain the park.
That's my thought, and just, from observation, they're doing a lot of work, and they're doing a great job, but, you have them over here doing this, and then somebody wants them to do something over here,
Right.
and it's not getting done quick enough.
Priorities.
Right, and so,
Right.
it just, I think it should be, follow the process. If it's something big, out of the ordinary, it should come to the board,
Yeah.
so that you all know what's going on.
I like that we have the work order
Yes.
system right now, and I'm all for it, all for it. That's why we instituted the work order system.
Purchase it.
And it's
Oh, yes.
it's something,
Yeah.
it's something you have to get used to. I'm one of the newest employees, and I was corrected the other day by Gail because I went out of the system. I just picked up the phone, I just picked up the phone and asked Kevin to do something, and Gail said, you're supposed to do a work order.
I just email you, is
Yep.
that not, is that right, the way to
That's
do it?
fine.
Okay, so I'm within that, okay.
That's fine, absolutely.
They would generate it, they would say where it originated from,
Yeah.
what the job is, and I would go on to say whether it's finished, pending, awaiting materials, things of that nature.
I haven't really paid too much attention. I knew that we were gonna get the work orders, but I didn't realize you actually have them in effect. That's one.
I've been trying to generate reports off of this system,
Mm-hmm.
because it would be helpful for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to coordinate a time with Tim, because I believe I need a special printer because the page is so big. And I can't print it,
Scale it.
I can't scale it without not being able to read it. So that is, so I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks for my weekly report, I can start adding that in there as well, so that you can see that system being utilized.
Yeah,
But I can also generate a lot of information for my reports on that as well.
right.
You can see specific dates, times, who I have working on that particular project, things of that nature, what machinery I have on each project. It's very detailed, so.
So,
Could you make out a work order to have Kevin work on the work order?
so
With Tim.
Oh, my
to
goodness.
clarify though, what is it that you need from the board tonight? Do you need a motion to say this is how we want it to work from us?
No, I don't think so. It's just
Yeah, it's just
I mean, if you want to, sure, but you said that kind of before. It's just a reminder.
Got it.
That's
Right.
all.
I got it.
This is the last one. List. Came up with some increases help offset our costs of dumping. If you notice, I'm proposing a $5 minimum charge for the larger dumpsters. And the thought process for that is that we have somebody come in with a handful of stuff, they toss it in. If we have 200 people do that, we haven't charged for that. Now we have a dumpster that's full that we haven't collected any money on. And the cost for dumping one of those larger dumpsters is up to about $300. That's including the travel cost and the tipping fee. It's quite an expense.
So it's 300 bucks plus the 20?
No.
Just 300 bucks.
Just $300. Yeah,
So if I want to throw a couple of pieces of wood in a wood dumpster, I have to pay $5?
$5. Yeah. Because if I have 200 people do that, I have a full dumpster, and I haven't collected any money on that dumpster, and now we've got to pay $300 to dump it. It happens more often than,
So when we get
just a
the,
proposal.
when we get the refrigerators, freezers, washers, dryers, can we get the junk guys to come and then take them from us so we get paid for it and then we get rid of it free? We got scrappers who'll take them.
What about the big construction people that come and knock them in that wood dumpster?
Oh, that's where it comes into the square yardage,
That's cubic.
cubic yards, so.
36 by 36 by 36. 15.
I'm still hung up on the couple of pieces of wood that I brought last week that I'm gonna be charged $5 for.
I put that in there.
You just need to make something from it. You just need to build something from it. Don't take it to make a cutting board.
Take it to the burn pile.
And you know, that's,
Clean off the sheetrock.
What is this world coming to, huh? $5 to get rid of a piece of wood.
You guys wanted him to enforce it. He's doing what we've said. Be careful what we wish for.
Kevin,
yes.
how do these relate to the actual costs that it's costing us to dispose of them?
Okay.
How accurate?
I spent about a half a week analyzing those numbers, and if I was to do an increase that was accurate or very specific, we would have a whole lot of angry residents. We haven't had an adjustment since 2004, so this is the first stage. I'm hoping that maybe in a few years, residents are accustomed to paying these prices. Maybe the price of dumping will level out, and we'll make another slight increase that'll be more evenly comparable, or more of apples to apples kind of thing. This is just a slight increase to help try to offset our cost and to let people know that we're not blind to what's going on, that we're trying to make some adjustments, but we're going to make small adjustments.
Or they all wait till amnesty week.
You get slammed.
And then you get
no,
really
no,
slammed.
I'm gonna
You're
push-
not doing away with the amnesty week, I'm sorry.
I'm
No,
trying,
you're not.
yes. And the reason for
We
that
are
is
the
because...
board.
You are the board, yes. But my train of thought for the amnesty week is if I have the dumpsters year-round, then we won't have the need for amnesty week.
I'll wait for amnesty week
But-
rather
That's
than
not
pay
the way it worked when we
$25.
had the dumpsters before.
Nope,
But we can...
and we had them year-round
Let's
before.
not forget the coupon
Yeah.
system that we can try to initiate as well.
Well, I'm interested
So-
to hear about it. Keep an open mind.
Like I said, this is going to take a long time. And what I said previously was I'd like to have a committee set up for our transfer station solid waste, so we can have a collaboration of minds working on this issue. Because we can't ignore it. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And I really don't want to be stuck in a hard place in a
The
couple of
next time we
years.
talk about this, can we actually get that analysis you did? What does it cost to get rid of the
Absolutely.
computer monitor? where do you do it? Is it at
Well,
RRA?
if you notice,
Just to,
just to give you an idea, let's see here. AC units, okay? We recycled, I think it was 75 units last year. And it cost us right around $600 to have the refrigerant or the coolant recycled. So that would give you, and we collected $20 a piece for that. That's a huge deficit, really. That we didn't collect nearly enough money to offset the cost of taking care of it.
well, that's what I'm trying to ascertain.
Yeah.
Exactly, what does it cost? Because you can't just throw it in the roadside garbage. This is
No.
a totally different breed of trash.
I could generate a more detailed description
I'd like
of
to, I'd
cost.
like to know what the current prices are and where you're
Yeah.
So
sending.
what you're asking is for us to approve these prices
Yeah.
now
Yes.
and see what they're,
Or if you want to think about it, and we can meet another time and
2004, what's another week?
Yeah,
pretty much.
and hopefully anybody who's interested in this would come for next week when we talk
This
about it,
is-
so they can, say what
Now-
they feel.
A couple of weeks ago, I handed out kind of a itinerary of my future goals for the town. This is very, very small step in that large picture. And I just didn't want to shell shock all the residents and the board with, okay, here's this huge elaborate plan, and let's see what it is.
You would just choke
We could do
yourself
it.
off.
Exactly. We just,
Yeah, okay, Ken, we'll see what it's
sure.
In order to raise fees, there's not a requirement for a public hearing.
Yes.
It hasn't been in the
It
past.
depends on when it was created, where it was, when and how.
Go ahead.
On the air conditioners, did we make money, lose money, or break of the 75 air conditioners? Yes, I get some came to ends. So how many did you collect from the 75 times 20 is $1,500. But didn't we get?
The MSP was a fee short.
there's no fee.
Right, so I'm saying, of the 75 ACs that were processed, were common units, I assume some of them were not, there were no fees collected. But some people come out through the year and pay $20. So it's, you had a cost to recover the refrigerator, what did you collect the fees on?
And that's what I'd like to know,
Yeah.
how much it costs, because I don't want to charge
Well, he
too
knows what
much,
he
but I
paid.
don't want,
Yeah, he knows what he paid out to the company, but how many of the 75 did?
we're in the week, right?
No. You're
All
right.
year.
Some worked, some got $20 for them, some didn't.
Yeah.
He wants to know how many paid the $20.
Oh, yeah. How many, yeah. Yeah, that's what I would think.
Either made money, lost money, or both.
That's how we decide how to charge, I think. Or we talk more about that no amnesty week thing that you said, have the figures on what that costs us. So we can have a fully informed picture if we're gonna make a big change like that.
I know, my God, you were right.
There's coupon programs and stuff like that.
All right.
Kevin's got an idea.
There's a lot in that
It's like
head.
a
right
bag
now.
on a card, right?
Not come out yet, but there is.
I think we should go back to when they used to, Monday was metals, Tuesday was wood, Wednesday was whatever. And they came right at the curb, yes. Remember Catherine put an end to it.
I'll go around and select the wood.
They have silver medals one day,
Yeah.
keep trees.
So anyway, yeah, that's, we'll have to, we'll look
So
at
are
this.
we acting on this tonight, or?
We're
I think we're looking for some, Joe wants some.
More information, which
I want more
I...
information, that's all.
We're gonna hold on to this.
Yep.
And we're gonna go and do a little more research and stuff like that on it, and then vote on it. I'm sure Catherine would like to
Weigh in.
weigh in on that
Yeah.
and see what we can come
Okay.
up with, but it's
Just
great
wanted
that
to start the process.
Yeah.
So,
So that's,
Plant the seed.
let's put a 2019 date on that sign.
I'm trying.
It said 2004.
Okay.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Well, it's been so patient waiting.
Oh, too
Did
bad,
you
it's
have any,
selectmen's reports now, John.
Yeah. Go back there. You didn't have anything to ask Kevin? Hey, Kevin, I guess about the sidewalk and lamp posts or anything?
I
Oh, I see it.
can talk.
Okay. I guess we're all set. Okay. Thanks.
So, yeah, so just, Juliet's been working hard on this lamp post project through the Main Street program, and I asked her to come in and give the selectmen an update of where she's at.
Right, thanks Jeannie, because I had spoken with Jeannie about how to approach it and, how to approach and just going to ask your advice about the warrant. And so I passed out a quote that I got. I'm really concerned about getting, not concerned, but I do want to get appropriate I want to propose appropriate lamp posts for this project if we're going to do it. And that means they have to be rated for the type of purpose that they have. I've been speaking with some people in the industry just to get it's technical. So you've got the coatings and the age of the aluminum, how thick, etc. Anyway, so the first page is a quote, as you can see, and that is for 10. So that would be on one side only at this point, and Joe and I had spoken about doing the other side as well. So I'd spoken with Jeannie about, all right, so I wouldn't mind, I would like to give people options to, and I don't know if this is possible, but if this goes to a warrant article, what do you think of having like, you can buy the whole enchilada, or you can, pick choice B, which would be a step-down version, a less expensive, a less intense project where you have maybe, a fancier lamppost right in the middle in front of the church or something, which is sort of like a highlight. Or you can just do less lampposts. I don't know if you want to do, it's 20, both on a lamppost on both sides, or 10 just on one side. These are all the things I'm trying to get some direction on, because it's so many choices, and I just need some help from you guys.
That is,
I think that if you have a committee and you all work intensely on this project and you're working very diligently, I think that the committee should believe in themselves and present what they believe is the right thing and in the best interest of the town of Tilton. Don't sell yourself short. Go in there with the plan, go in a town meeting with the plan and say, this is what we feel is going to be in the best interest, and it's going to last the longest, and it's going to stand up the best for the town. If you go in and say, well, you know what, we know it's a lot of money, but we can go here cheaper, and maybe in a couple of years it's going to break down. Well, then now you've exposed yourself to a lot of people that are gonna, if maybe, okay, and then the whole thing's gonna fail on you. Go in there with confidence, go in there with what you believe in, and if this is the project that you believe in, then go with the whole project in there and say, this is what I would like to do. You know, and if you want to do it in 1 year, this is your project, you've got it, the pipe, this is what the pipe is for, right? This is what's going in.
Some of it, yeah.
So maybe the committee wants to think about, okay, maybe this will be over a 2-year, we'll put a reserve fund, so much money away this year for 22,000 away this year, and 22,000 away next year, split it. But this year we do this side, and next year we do that side, and there's your reserve fund right there, or something like that. But believe in your project.
Right,
And
I do, but-
don't go in with options, because in the past, no matter what it is, it doesn't matter what it is. In 10 years that I've been a selectman, you go in with options, you're going to end up with nothing. You're going to walk out there with nothing. That's only my opinion. Strictly my
That's
opinion.
good. I
Too
was
many
thinking about
choices.
too many choices
A lot of
perhaps.
times on the floor,
Yeah.
somebody will say, they might lower the amount or something like that, eliminate one post or something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
Kevin will probably tell you that too.
that's true.
What you really want.
Don't let, okay,
Get something
yeah.
you don't want. Like,
That's true. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way. I was thinking about a proposal from one of Ashland's meetings where people are like, well, we don't have choice B here. So it didn't pass, so I was concerned about
If
that. but-
choice A is a really good one, people will review it on its merits and pass it or not accordingly.
Okay.
why
so-
B and C are fit for our town.
Only choice A. Here it is. Okay, well, that's good, thank you. Any other thoughts on that? Yeah, so there'll be LEDs, so that's a new thing, that's the way everything's going.
They're much less expensive to like
Yeah, in the long run. And then-
and replace.
The other things is parks. Unfortunately, being on Main Street, subjected to loaders or cars, someone might pull too far forward. You want to make sure there's something that 5-10 years from now, if it gets hit, we can either have just backup cars or we can replace it.
Order them.
You know, if it's a standard type thing. We have happened with little lights on the island that hit by a mower.
Oh,
So we had the option of matching together or replacing all the lights.
because they didn't have anything even similar?
So it's just an idea.
You want me to see if they have something similar?
But just, when you do
Yeah.
this, think, how would you replace damage?
Not something too unique, something that would be similar, you know?
Standard
Yeah.
type thing.
This one does, all right. Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's-
And of course, I'm not married to this quote. I assume that it will go out to bid or something if it goes through. I don't know how it works exactly. But, so, do you want me to start preparing this sort of thing for the warrant? Draft
Well,
this?
I was just gonna say, I think the direction Pat gave you, which is good, is go back to your committee and come back and make a proposal of what you think should happen.
Okay, well, assuming that they want this, so that was their vote.
Do you have a plan, something to show locations, what have you? It's hard for me to say yes to this without looking and see the layout.
Oh, right, well, yes. On through here, and black dots are the locations where are.
What's the recommendation?
They're
About
the dots.
standard.
No, what's the recommendation on the pole? Because I'm just thinking we're gonna have a ton of poles running down there, it's like,
Right. And that's why, that's another thing, we've got the poles that are there. So, we could have an engineer look at it, I don't know. I mean, I can't give you an answer, that's not something I
so
can Google.
how did we come up with 10? Just,
The committee?
We went out as a committee and we started counting off feet. And we counted off the feet in the street.
okay.
And then we divided it up, 8, 12, and 10. And we decided that 10 at one every 60 feet, that's what we came up with.
But if the lights are good for 120 feet, it's overkill, that's why I'm trying to find out.
Oh, okay, well, they're not just for lighting, it's for aesthetics as well. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm more for safety than aesthetics.
Well, it's safety as well,
One
because
needs-
we decided, right on, we put some on the street corners. We had that in mind when we placed those, because we're standing there at the crosswalks and places where people would cross, thinking, it would be good to have light here too.
And the first tractor trailer making a turn that came in the wrong way or something takes it out, so we gotta have some extra bases handy.
well, hopefully they're nowhere near where a tractor trailer would ordinarily be making
Well, you
any
said it-
kind of move.
You were saying at corners, and they
Well-
turn
Well,
all
not
sorts
at
of corners.
corners. I
Right at
mean,
the edge of the
not at the
corner, but
edge.
like where roads intersect,
Right.
back from the corner.
Right, like, here's a crosswalk, and it's, obviously right here would be great, because, we're thinking of these crosswalk safety issues that have been coming up.
I'm just thinking Park Street, we got concrete, I don't know how many feet off the edge of the road, and we had a tractor trailer rip both axles off
No,
it.
it could
They
happen.
can happen, I
Yeah,
Been
put
working
your
on
plan together.
I don't think it's happening. I mean,
Formalize it up, I would, if possible, get a picture of the building and
yeah, I'll do a
Photoshop picture of the
Photoshop.
lamp part of it, So we can,
I didn't hear that. Did you talk with a lighting engineer or talk with a lighting specialist to see where the best place is for them?
We spoke with Kevin, and we spoke with JP. So those two guys were there because I didn't want to make these decisions on my own.
JP's,
He's an electrician. Apart from that, there's no one else I have to call on for that. It's an unusual task to place them, and then it's unusual that we already have street lamps too, I believe. So,
what you're trying to create is an ambiance of the downtown, to make it
It's-
more
right.
inviting and warmer.
Love to get those
Define-
overhead wires
define the
buried
area.
someday.
yeah, and that too, but, so let's
I have a dream
do
to.
the project list.
So the phone may be gone before we know it, Joe. Cable's next
Oh,
after
yeah.
that.
Oh, the phone, yes.
All together, and do it, that's it.
All right,
There it is, it's what it's gonna look like.
all right, I will make a Photoshop of it.
When is the next meeting for the downtown committee?
Next month. Third Wednesday, I believe. Yep, it'll be on the town calendar.
Warrant articles have to be in by January, I think it is. January first.
Something around there.
January.
Around there.
Catherine's booklet's right there
Yeah,
for this
we
year.
have time.
I'll give you a ball.
Extra time, so
Do that, so we'll be back with, picture. Taking pictures.
pictures and costs,
Yeah.
all the questions.
Well, I mean, so what do you all think, right here, and right now, personally? I know
That's
Joe.
just me.
Joe was
I
there,
like the
so-
idea of having the street lamps up and down both sides of Main Street. I also like the buried wires, but in the short term, it would provide every 60 feet if you envision where they would be. Because I stood down there at night saying, all right, well, where would these street lights be? And because I went on the walk, I kind of know. And when it opposed to it, and I think it would add that whole, I want to walk down Main Street. Because we don't have lights from the stores for the most part, you know, some, but, and light up the crosswalks and that kind of stuff.
So it's the first Tuesday in February. Petition
Oh, okay,
board
thank you.
articles.
Yeah, that's-
I like the idea.
I mean, you can be frank if you want something otherwise, or
Cases like that. Those, many towns, just small for
yeah.
Like,
People do seem to want to change and something to happen down there. Aesthetically, they are willing to volunteer their time to do the flowers, to work downtown. That group, the small private school up there, they're like, do you have any projects for us? We want to work downtown. We want a beautiful place. People want it. This will give us, we can put flower baskets on them and have the brackets. It already looks nice with the trees, but
I'd like to see the chalk art come back.
oh, the chalk art, yeah.
do it next week.
Get some
just
past
the sidewalk.
no sidewalk. Here I am making plans to buy past now.
Sandcastles.
Sandcastles.
What you seen castles from downtown on the sidewalk?
Thank you, Juliet. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
good
do
job.
have a planning board item.
Thanks.
Next thing we have is the selectmen reports.
Switch that, and perhaps take the town administrator report so that Kevin can
Or, yeah,
Sure.
get back to his honey-do list.
honey-do list.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I'll give you a brief update on kind of where we're at with the police station building committee. We had a meeting this past Monday night, and we had our architect, Gary Goudreau, in our meeting with us. And the more that we talk about construction manager, the more comfortable it feels. Jason's sitting here tonight, and Jeannie's here, and our entire team, and obviously Pat's here. After our meeting on Monday night, and the more discussion we had about construction manager and how the project could flow, and what it would mean to having a complete project and a quality project and price sensitive, we all looked at each other and said construction manager. Certainly, we feel comfortable with where we're at with that, and our decision to move forward with the RFP. The RFPs have gone out. We have 4 contractors that's gone out to that showed interest, and those are due back in on August 5th. Our committee is recommending RFP evaluation, and it would be an RFP recommendation and evaluation subcommittee. We certainly could look at it with our committee, but we felt that there should be selectmen involved in that. We had a motion for it.
So what the committee talked about was, at the direction of the selectmen, just to go back a little bit, you agreed that we could go ahead, I could go out and send out the RFQs, the RFQPs, our request for qualification / proposal. We sent it out to 4 construction companies who had agreed that if they were successful in the bid, they would not charge a fee in the pre-construction phase. It would come after town meeting if they were selected. If town meeting said yes, and we moved forward. So we sent out to those 4. All 4 responded back that they were interested in the proposal. The due date is August 5th. The committee discussed about, how they would handle that, and one of the ideas that they came up with was this idea that There would be a subcommittee of 5. That would be Kevin, it would be somebody from the PD, either
Nate or the captain.
Nate or the
because they've been
captain,
on the committee.
myself, Tim Pearson, and Gary Goudreau, so 5 of us that would look at the 4 proposals when they came in, evaluate them, and make a recommendation to the selectmen about what we thought would be a good construction manager. We could do that, they come in on August 5th, we could do that the next night on August 8th, which is your next meeting. We could make that presentation to you. Alternatively, we could have all 4 of the companies come in and give a presentation to all of you, hopefully on the 8th, if we could get them there. If not, maybe on the 15th. But in the committee's discussion of it, they thought it was, the majority of the committee thought it was more streamlined if we went with the idea of an evaluation committee, subcommittee, to look at those proposals and present to the selectmen.
Could you like work in the ranking maybe and why?
We could do that.
You know, because that way we interviewed all 4 and we chose this one and then in descending order and why
Right.
we made those choices.
Absolutely.
That would be helpful to me.
I like your thinking, Joe. I think that more of an objective type of a recommendation and not a subjective. Because we have qualifications, it's an RFQ. So as long as they meet those and who meets them the best, and what their track record is, we can rate that.
That would be good for me.
So we're just coming back to all of you for the next step in the process, because that's what the committee said they'd do.
So here we are, I mean, updating you on where we're at, and the RFQs have gone out. They'll be back in on the 5th, and if we can have that evaluation subcommittee make a recommendation to you, and we would like to get a vote on the 8th,
Yeah.
standing behind our recommendation.
And I think one of the things that's good,
doable in my world.
and I think
On what?
And I think one of the things that Kevin keyed in on the proposal when we set out, there were 2 things he wanted added to that proposal. One was that they had 5 references from communities that they've done work with, and the other is kind of to prove out to us that they have the relationship building capacity, that they understand how important it is to work with the community and with the select board.
I want to make sure, and our committee wants to make sure, that whatever construction manager that we choose works in our best interest and knows how to foster a harmonious relationship with the Board of Selectmen, with our committee, with the community. It's a big project. So we want to make sure that they can prove that.
Feeling more comfortable on it.
I think that if we're able to do,
Oh, I didn't know if you just keep an eye out and see if we can go on.
I always got a comment. If I could, 2 seconds. No, it's not really, well, it's not about a recommendation. I got voted out of it.
Okay, you're on second number 5. Keep going.
We're getting to the point where we're trying to ask questions about the building, asking Gary something as simple as, hey, is this kind of truss, attic space? I think we're going to have traditional truss that's all spider web all the way through. What's the consequence of that, Gary? It's not this field.
Right.
Construction manager is the person that can say on the fly, it's about this. Okay, I'm going to block wall, we're going to put steel stud with brick side. It's constant. She's out of construction. So,
And that's
time is of the
exact-
essence for us to partner with somebody that can start to
You
do
can
stuff. Make everything possible. The 2 options were, well, in all fairness, we want the input of the select board to say, maybe somebody that say, you know what, I want to interview all of these folks, for transparency to them, or, like Joe said, and I like the idea of just boiling it down, highlights, lowlights, something like that,
And
we gotta move on.
Maybe if we get one that's outstanding, we talk to them the following week in Harvard.
And sometimes maybe the number 2 or 3 person may not be
me too.
But Jason, Jason is exactly right, because we ran into that in this last committee meeting, whether it was a concrete block or ICF, or what was the metal studs.
Metal
You know,
studs,
what's the cost difference, and even down to the ICF, there are very few contractors who know how to do that, so that limits who's gonna bid on it. So it was really interesting learning experience for us to see why it's so important to have a construction manager on the job, right with us while we're working on this.
It really all came together at the meeting on Monday night, just because of the comments that Jason and Jeannie just made, that when we deliver this package to the public at town meeting, it's almost gonna be like a piece of fine art that's been created with a price tag on it, instead of, this is the one price that we got, or these are the three prices that we got, take them or leave them. So there's a lot of decision making that needs to be made, and we're really waiting patiently in the next week.
Yeah, you know, you guys have done an absolutely stellar job all the way through this, and it's all flowed really, really well.
It feels good.
And
I'm cautiously
work
optimistic.
together with us.
Yeah, so are we, Joe. Thank you.
So we've got a lot of faith in your decisions, and if you put them in order like that for us, and we have some questions, I'm sure you can keep this ball rolling.
It's just a time crunch.
So we can do that. Jeannie can work into the schedule.
So you're good with a subcommittee that we can put together, as Jeannie had mentioned, and then we'll bring to you a recommendation?
That's it. Do we need a vote?
I think so. I would think
Consensus.
so, if they're committee and they're developing a subcommittee.
Well, we're agreeing to the subcommittee. We're allowing them to do a subcommittee to interview prospective.
I personally, I would prefer a vote. I think it gives
So
us,
moved.
it gives us a little, it gives us more.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Unanimous.
Thank you. Thank you all for your confidence, too. I really appreciate that, and so does the committee.
Well, it's obvious you guys are working hard on this. And, I would hate to see you spin your wheels. It's happened so many times. I mean,
Well, again, we need to recognize the work that all the committees have done for the last 13 years, because without the work that they've done, we wouldn't be where we're at, so.
Right.
well, that's
And you have a rock star over here that's keeping us in line, so.
That's huge.
Thanks, Kevin. So you'll see on the weekly update, Silver Lake map R21 lot 27. If you remember, our assessing company came back to us to let us know that this property owner wanted to donate this piece of property to the town, didn't want it anymore, about .01 acres. The value, you see the value on it there. One of the questions, I don't remember which selectman asked me that, but wanted to know were there any easements. And you can see from the research that there are in fact easements to pass over the tract for access to Silver Lake. And I have the warranty deed just to back that up. And I also had Sheena print out a copy of the piece of property, which
It's 10 feet wide and 44 feet deep for that acreage. If you go, it's a beach area, and it's one in the middle out of about half dozen different little swaths. To me, you should be talking to the two that abut it, and have them, one of them buy it. No parking, we can't do anything really for a beach area.
It's not a beach. It's not a beach. You can go on
It is-
kayaks there. you
Well, it
can-
is, it's a little, it's that sandy beach area, but there's so many involved.
It needs 10 feet of waterfront.
I still think we should accept, I think we should accept it. We might want to put it, full access to there or something.
And where's parking gonna be? Because that's a narrow road to begin with.
And the piece of property itself, you might get a car or two on it, but it's not like a public road. It really isn't.
It's,
You
yeah,
don't
it's,
think
it's,
the park over there.
yeah, Yeah, it's, sand may be too soft.
It's taking $32,000 off the tax roll.
I don't know
It'd be
who
nice to have
who
another
the
neighbor.
generous resident is that's offering the town this property. But I'm guessing that he's looking to trade a tax bill for continued use. Because he can still have continued use to the property, it would be public property. He just wouldn't have to pay taxes on it. And I can understand that. I mean, I don't know what
If
the
it
tax
had
bill
value,
is on
10 feet by 45 feet is not.
435 square feet.
Yeah.
And then all you have to do is not pay taxes for 2 years. And you're gonna take
And the
it.
town would have it anyway.
I wouldn't keep it, I'd sell it. I'm one of the
He
abutters.
had to go,
Go to
if he
the-
could do that, he'd have done that. He didn't even give it away. I'm thinking.
I'm sure he's already contacted the abutters, so if he could sell it, would he have sold it?
I don't know, because I could go from 10 to 20 feet on my own private beach, I could do so.
But as you
So-
said, everybody can cross it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It's not a
so-
private beach.
Don't be public.
I'd be a yes, but that's all right.
You wanna
I think
vote
I'm
on
the
that?
minority.
Going to Catherine's here?
That's fine, it's waited this
I
long.
don't know, so Pat and I are canceled, so,
Yeah, I'm in no, but that one's Catherine's.
yeah, we'll wait for Catherine.
That's fine.
Something for nothing is always.
Yeah.
Well, if you had parking, you know, it's just that 10 by 44.
You'll see in the FYI that we've set up the date for the Primex, with Primex for the SWOT analysis and the goals setting for the board. So I'll keep you up to date on what the structure of that looks like. August 29th. Why? Why, are you going to be here? Not going to be here? I still have to get the employee manual done, you know.
That's a great goal.
It's been a goal.
That's a great goal, but I'm with my little guy right there.
So, one of the other things I wanted to let you know, the 150th committee has had a lot of activities. I, probably last week, I guess, I met Anna Isharian LaPierre, and she has offered to host, and I don't know the details of that, I'm assuming donate the space, for us to do a New Year's Eve celebration for the town at that location. I don't know what that looks like. I thought it was a very generous offer.
What location again?
LPA's job.
LaPierre.
Riverfront,
Oh, Riverfront.
River Place, I'm sorry, River
Yeah.
Place.
Careful of parking rules.
Yes.
So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. I'll get more
Very
details
nice.
from her and bring it back. I don't know what that means, but she seemed to be I thought it was very generous, and
One of the years with the Christmas parade, she did the Polar Express up there at
Oh.
the same time. So
nice. One of the other questions I had for you is the senior center pipes. Want to know where we're going with that, because it is the end of July. Before you know it, it's going to be cold. It's hard to get folks to work on things, and I want to try to get that locked down if we've made a decision on how we want to move forward with that project.
I spoke to Pat this week, and I asked if it would be okay if I crawl into the creepy crawl space, slither into there this weekend. It seems so nice and cool in there. If anybody wants to join me and take a
You
good
go,
look at
probably.
it. I will. I'll bring my GoPro and I'll make some videos of it. You're big hit. And so if we could wait.
That's
but,
fine.
Yeah. Now it's time here to,
So you're going to go do that
this weekend.
this weekend? Okay.
Did we, speaking of the senior center, ever get the ice dam, ice stops
The snow stops, and I,
Snow stops.
yep, and I'm gonna bring that to you next week. Yep. We have
Once
the-
again, timing.
Yep, yes.
That was another one of the things that I brought to Jeannie, was to look at cutting down that brush that we cut down every year. I did contact John. I've been waiting for a message to come back, because I don't know if he sold that piece of the property. Nothing between with it.
Japanese knotweed?
No. It's in front of the outbuilding, next to the sidewalk, where we push the snow from the telephone pole up to the outbuilding. He allows us every year to cut that down so we can push the snow there. And it's mostly that vine that goes up. Cut it down every year.
Possibly talk to Paul.
At the
Rush
back,
Line.
Paul does the back.
Maybe that too.
He does that back. He does a good job on the mountain. Excellent job. Every year he comes up there.
So I am done with my update. I do need a non-public, but I figured we could do that at the end after your selectmen's reports.
I didn't know if it should be a work order or not, but Kevin could check when you look at the gazebo, one of the granite steps to the right, I guess, was misaligned, if you could miss it, stepping down off of that.
You just sent me an email on that. I haven't read it, but I saw the granite step in the email, so
Okay.
I'll look and see what that
I
says.
haven't been over there to look and see if it's done yet.
I never noticed.
I got a call, so.
Okay. I'll find out.
I should have asked Chief Cormier when he was here. I rode Ashland 2 days ago. There's no extra speed signs. There's no stop sign there. I went around twice, maybe I'm missing it, but there's a 15-mile-an-hour sign as you come in. It's been there. Somebody put it up. I don't know. It's the only one I saw.
I'll
So,
follow up with them,
I don't
find
know.
out.
Maybe it just got dropped down the list. Or,
Unless they're ordered.
oh, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
They had to order.
Maybe they had to order.
But I'll check to make sure they actually got ordered. That's, okay.
The stop sign was going down near the beach area, I think, Joe, by our pump station.
That's what
Bob always.
that's what I thought, yeah, down in that neighborhood. No, I'm good. Oh, no, I'm not good. I would like to publicly thank the Senior Center Committee. They did something so nice for me, and out of the blue, Iris and Emily, and I'm not sure how this all came about, but my grill is weak. I've cooked thousands of hamburgers on that thing, and those elements are steel, but they've been heated up blue hot so many hours that they're starting to crumble. You bang it too hard, and the thing comes apart. And I've got aluminum foil wrapped around them to contain the holes in it to continue to, and it functions. But they noticed this, and they went out and they bought me an in the box brand new grill.
Nice.
Now, it's not the one I had. It's a shorter one, but this may well be serviceable. And I'm going to put this thing to good use like nobody's business. And I can now do like pancakes and breakfast sandwiches and stuff like that real easy. So that adds a dimension to my repertoire. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Senior Center, for what.
Thank you, Joe, for all you do.
Well, no, you guys are welcome. And I turned around and I bought one from the Old Home Day Committee last night. Same one I've got now.
Yeah.
They gave me a dirt cheap price
Yeah.
because they know what I do with it.
Right?
Much newer, totally good. So I'm good for the big functions and the little functions and the breakfasts and
Nice.
it's real nice. It's real nice.
Very
Thank you, everybody. That's it, for sure. here.
Saturday, the 27th, 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon, Belmont Fire Station or Franklin Public Works, household hazardous waste. Following Saturday, August 3rd, you can go to Laconia Public Works. They'll take things like drain opener, dry cleaning fluids, epoxies, resins, floor cleaner, metal polish, oven cleaner, fluorescent bulbs, CFLs, pool cleaner. But the only thing they don't take is latex paint. You put that in kitty litter or a speedy dry, let it dry out, and you can throw that in your regular garbage. So this Saturday, motor oil, I think they'll take, this is garage. Radiator, car wax, grease, gasoline, diesel, mixed motor oil,
Yes.
yep, antifreeze, so yep.
Perfect,
Coal,
perfect.
water, gas?
Yeah, coal, gas, and diesel. So pretty much anything that may be hazardous in your house, garage, workshop, they'll take. That's it.
I have two things. I said I'd help you on under the senior center. Sunday, if you go, I can, but I just got called to work on Saturday. So, take care of that. The senior center was asked to, the executive committee was asked to open the doors to the, on Fridays, and I think this is really a special, event or events that are happening. This is the PACT Social Workers, PACT, and what they do is help, it's called Patient Aligned Care Team, and it's out of the Veterans Administration Manchester Healthcare System, but it's the outpatient clinic here in Tilton, and it's the social workers. Well, the office over here is so tiny. They're doing some outreach programs, and a lot of their veterans, homeless veterans and so on and so forth, and not just homeless veterans, but a lot of veterans, they're doing some outreach programs, and they provide referrals to community resources, community meals, mental health services, substance abuse, referrals, employments, and they caregiving supports. They'll inform the veterans and families about VA benefits, Social Security, Medicaid, and other government benefit programs. So they didn't have room enough for this all to happen for small groups to inform the veterans, so they asked if they could use the senior center. Because of the confidentiality of it, they can't use it Monday through Thursday when other programs are going on. So on Fridays in the morning, a couple of mornings each month, they're going to be there. So I wanted to put the word out. We've allowed them to go there at no cost to set up at the senior center. They're going to start soon. That to be announced, I guess. But we're excited because they want to reach out to people in Tilton. They want the word to get out in Tilton. It's not like your typical VA go to the crisis center in Manchester and fumble through paperwork. They really want to do some outreach programs here in Tilton, so I'm very excited. Shannon Libby is the social worker's name, so a lot of nice things are happening in Tilton with the veterans, so that's great. That was very exciting to announce. That's it.
That's it. Covering stuff.
Got the collective bargaining agreement next. So we sent out an RFP to 11 law firms to give us a proposal for collective bargaining agreement negotiations for the upcoming contract, which is in June of 2020. You all got copies of those proposals last week. I put together a kind of a synopsis spreadsheet, which I'll pass out to you. In that spreadsheet, it talks about the law firm and who the primary representing attorney would be, the size of the firm, their experience, qualifications, and this is just a brief, very brief, compensation and pay, professional liability coverage, and their municipal references. And I'm sure you're all familiar with this in that you all got your copies and have read it. The law firms include Donahue, Tucker, Ciandella, Upton and Hatfield, Wadley Starr and Peters. The McKittrick Law Offices, Jackson and Lewis, Drummond Woodsum, and Sol Leslie Kidder. So, I think what I was hoping tonight is we could have a discussion about how you want to proceed. If you want to talk about the proposals you like, do you want to pick a few, 3, have them come back and present to the board? I'm looking for direction.
Of course, I have an opinion.
I have a question on the second one, sheet. Billed at $185 an hour, 6-minute increments, so if you talk to them for 6 minutes, $185.
No,
Or
No,
it's four.
tenth of an hour.
Yeah.
It's going by tenths.
Oh,
So it costs you 18.50.
for every 6 minutes.
But they all do that.
So if you're
That's
telling them
not-
how your day's been and the family and all, that's how much you're paying.
Some of them do 5-minute increments, some of them do 10-minute increments, they do in 6 minutes. It's a racket job.
So my observation is you've got a very small, you've got a wide range. You've got a very small law firm with 2 lawyers and 1 paralegal, all the way up to 900 lawyers with 58 offices throughout the country. You've got a law firm who's done the last 3 rounds of negotiations for Tilton and understands Tilton and, you know, what we've done over the last 3 negotiations. You've got other attorneys on here that in some way or the other I think you're familiar with because they've done work for the town.
Personally, I think that last 3 rounds, and I was pretty satisfied, or very satisfied with how they handled everything, and they seemed to work well with the police department. I was not involved in the negotiations, so I'd like to have Peter was, and Pat was, and hear their thoughts. You think, Joe, you're...
Well, let's hear their thoughts.
So I recommended that we go out as a selectman. We've always tried to, every so often, see what's out there and what's available to us, because you never know. We've had very good luck. We've had a very good rapport with the one that we have right now. I certainly don't have any complaints whatsoever. We have a very good working relationship with the union. We have for a number of years now. The main reason why we went out and asked to go out for RFP is because occasionally the board has asked to go out and look for others. So my number 1 would be the one that we have, but I would, if you want to interview, I would go with the second one on the list and the top one on the list. That would be my opinion. If the board chooses to interview, that would be my...
The advantage of sticking with the previous one, he's been here soup to nuts from the genesis when we created it, and then each future round, as we found kinks in it, we were able to work him out. He knows our mindset and all. So I'm sort of leaning that way. I'm pleasantly surprised when I look at the compensation that it's reasonable compared to some of the others I see on the list. Well,
Did they charge us travel time and extra for paralegals?
He charged us travel time in paralegal, but he charged us from the closest location. There are several locations, so I think
But at $195 an hour.
right, yes, but
the
there are
others are doing the
several-
same.
It's a racket. I know, they all do it.
but he charged us from the closest location. And that's where we got
And where
charged from.
is the closest location?
It's either Concord or Wolfboro was the closest.
The other ones got down.
Salem, Salem.
Well, I like DT and C, number one on the list. And I've had experience with the lawyers from there. And one of them is a former Jeopardy champion. And I don't think you should discount that. Not only does he know lots of useless trivia, but he's a lawyer. That's 2 for 2.
Does that mean that useless trivia will play a part in hourly?
Well, it must be because he did list it amongst his
I know.
qualifications.
Champion.
Champion. Knows Alex Trebek person. That said, I agree with Peter and Pat. You know how I feel about lawyers and
Feel
Peter,
the love.
Peter Phillips, he's a lawyer. But he does know, he's been through this 3 times, he knows the people involved. You don't have to bring him up to speed. Anybody else is gonna have to go over the other contracts at 180, 85, 225 or whatever an hour. That's
300.
gonna cost us $500 or $600 to get them up to speed. So the fact that Sue Leslie Kidder is slightly higher than the lowest one, we'll save that much money in time, I think. And
Is that a
it is
motion?
racket.
Is that a motion, Jim?
Sure, I move that we,
I didn't know if John would.
I was gonna make a motion that we reach out to Sue Leslie Kidder / Peter Phillips to provide CBA negotiations for the town of Tilton.
I'll second that. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 That's unanimous.
Right.
So moved. Congratulations. You just hired a lawyer.
I just can't believe it.
Of all the people.
Please make sure that's in
Like a
there.
necessary,
Yeah, make sure it says Joe.
You want these back?
I was gonna say this is a good cheap one.
and a nice letter to go out to the rest of these characters and letting them know thanks but no thanks. Thank you.
So we're on the same page as CBA negotiations. Will the board pick who's going to negotiate this year so that we can work with Peter?
I would make a motion to ask Pat and Peter to reprise their roles as our negotiating representatives. Again, you guys have a working fundamental knowledge of how this works, and the board's got to approve it ultimately anyway. And having the same people here might be in our best interest.
I'll second that if we'll agree to do it.
You don't wanna do it?
I have a lot of faith that you guys have been on both sides of the table for these things.
Years.
And negotiating.
Yeah.
That's a big task.
It is.
So the negotiating team will be Tim, Jeannie, Pat, and Peter.
So all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved.
Peter, and Peter,
I'm ready.
and repeat.
Repeat.
Peter Square.
Peter Square. There you go. All right, now we're in non-public.
Well, you have other business if you so choose.
Or is this public?
So, at the electric department agreement, we're going to go into non-public, but
What's other business?
other business, and just think,
That's supposed to be public.
Can be.
I don't think you were here when we first started the meeting today, but we do have on our agendas now other business, as well as the select board may take consideration of any other matters, other business as deemed appropriate by the select board. And I think on business, trying to make sure we always ask, is there anybody that wants to say anything first? Just in case, you know, and feel free to
Oh, you
jump with, I've invited you to talk.
You guys should just cover your everybody.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for that.
And Pete, the public should, I'm a big believer in the public should be.
I don't know what came across your radar that prompted your discussion. I think you guys too much behind the scenes, things that go shots like that, so.
Just want to make sure that everything is above the board.
So, having said that, I have to ask you.
Non-public.
Yes, we're going into
We're
non-public.
going to non-public.
I'm gonna go swing from the new street poles.
Well, they're not up yet, I
Well, we
don't
can hang
think.
banners on them, right?
Right.
Just can't hang them anywhere else.
Yeah, we
They'll be
can.
ours.
Yeah,
It's true.
yeah.
Yeah, we can. We have permission. We just got to get the banners in.
So this is going to be for personnel.
Yes.
We want to make an announcement first.
Oh, yes,
No
we do.
announcement. Hey,
Oh,
hang on,
hold on.
hang on.
Hold
Jason,
on.
Jason.
We have an announcement.
Do you want to
Make a
unseal-
motion to unseal the minutes of the last week's meeting pertaining to personnel in which we hired a person. A personnel.
Okay, we have a motion. Second that?
Second.
Peter, second that. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. We'll have our town administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am pleased to let you know that Leanne Moynihan has accepted the position of the Land Use Coordinator for the town of Tilton, and she will be starting the week of August 12th.
It's a great day.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Leanne.
Thought you might want to know that. You can spread the word. Sometimes when we go to the non-publics, we already let.
Okay, that's all right. So, I don't think it'll come up in conversation.
But the fact that we do have somebody
It could.
is
Let's
what,
get that.
that is,
Now, you were looking at a couple different job descriptions, right? So this
Yes.
is,
Land Use Coordinator.
training into the planner.
Yes.
Good.
Yep,
So you can fill them away that.
Right. exactly.
so,
In theory.
We do listen once in a while.
okay, so I'm gonna make a motion
Joe needs a chiropractor
that,
Okay, let's go.
or a Reiki master.
we're going to non-public as per RSA 91A:3, paragraph 2A. Dismissal, promotion, compensation of public employee.
Hi, personnel evaluations.
Yeah, personnel evaluations.
Second. Constantino, yes.
Fogg, yes?
Jessamine, yes.
Scanlon, yes?
We are red is on. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session as they pertain the personnel issues permanent.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
Thanks, guys.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.